Susan Mangeni is the Principal Secretary of the State Department for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development. She's our guest this evening, talking about the development of MSMEs in the country. Madam PS, MSMEs have been the talk in this country for many years, for decades. Yes. Talking about supporting MSMEs has also been in government circles for many years. In fact, when we talked about, the Kibaki administration starting the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and then the Women Fund, the Wezo Fund, and now this administration with the Hustler Fund, all of them are targeting those small enterprises and seeing how they can support them to grow. But then, what many would say, like you've said, 98% of businesses in this country are in that category of MSMEs, which means these are businesses that are hiring less than 500,000 people. These are businesses that are getting revenues of less than 800 million a year. We are not growing our MSMEs. What's the problem?
Yes, I want to appreciate that we've had a focus on MSME, and there has been some sort of attention to it since independence. And that's why we are having institutions like Kenya Industrial Estate who have been there to support MSME in the manufacturing sectors. Those are some of the institutions that have been there for quite some time. We're having the Youth Enterprise Fund during the late President Kibaki's regime, which came into being. Again, we can fairly say it's been there for more than 15 years or so. Then came Wezo Fund, also around 2013 with the Jubilee administration. And then other than just government, we've also had a lot of focus from the private sector, from the development partner. In other words, we've been trying to do something, and everybody has been trying to do something. But probably what has been lacking is just that coordination, so that we can leverage on each other. And so if we leverage on each other's efforts, we're able to see the growth. We're able to scale them up from one level to another, from micro to small, from small to medium, to large enterprises, and then to MNOs. What is happening that is so different this time round is that we have not just pronounced commitment to this sector in the book. If you look at the Kenya Kwanza plan, which is revolving around bottom-up economic transformation agenda, you see that MSME is a key pillar there, in addition to agriculture, housing, health, and then digital economy. MSME is there. And this is just in appreciation on how, as a government, we are reorganizing our economy. Because the challenge we have in this country is economic participation. If you have an economy where only a few at the top of the economic pyramid, a small segment of the population are participating effectively, whereas the majority of the population do not have opportunity. They are clouded in a number of barriers, including access to finance, access to information, even basic information, knowing that an opportunity exists. Nobody serves you with that information. That kind of gap needed to be bridged. So bring down the barriers and let so many people get into the economy and participate. And so what we are doing different is that in addition to spelling out our commitments on the paper, we have actually put infrastructure. And the first infrastructure that we put in place is the State Department of MSME. And of course, together with my sister State Department of Cooperative. The cooperative has been there, but now we've given it a home, because the work of cooperative is to aggregate these MSME, give them bargaining power to access financing and also to access markets. And when they are aggregated together, it becomes so easy even to do capacity building, to build their capacity, be it knowledge, skills, training. It becomes so easy to serve them. This segment of MSME, especially the first M, which is micro, and because our architecture of economy is characterized by micro, the informal MSMEs, they're considered high risk in the market. They don't have social capital, they don't have networks, formidable networks that they can ride on. They lack collaterals, and especially where you see women and youth are involved, you know that they cannot be given title deeds, for example, to use as collateral or some sort of security to access financing and credit which they need to advance their businesses. So what are we doing there is that Kenya Kwanza plan puts a lot of emphasis on MSME. There's no way we'll grow economy without them. So one of the commitments is, first of all, to decriminalize the MSME. MSMEs are, some segments of MSMEs are criminalized in this country.
Like which one?
Like, for example, boda. And I'll give you an example. If you go to urban setups, you find bodas are not allowed to access certain streets, or because they bring congestions and stuff. And you know, we can work it out by providing decent working spaces, allocating certain streets to them which are nearby. Because why do I need a boda going to town? Because I find it so easy, it can penetrate certain traffic. I love to park my car somewhere else, like 2 kilometers away, penetrate with boda. So if we work out a framework where we can have streets designated or dropping off points, we will be enabling them with a decent working spaces instead of setting them up to run, these constant battles with sitters carries, with counters carries all over.
But this is done by the counties.
Yeah, but
because the counties are the ones that are running those.
And that's why we are working with them. We are working with the counties. One of the how we are decriminalizing is sit down with the county and say, listen, if we afford these borders, these hawkers, decent working spaces, designate certain spaces, trading spaces for them, you are going to formulate, you're going to earn more from them, and they are going to do their business and enhance their livelihood from that. So we are in talks with the county governments, and many of the governors are aligned right now for the need, because when you talk about an agenda, it's not only to the national government, it's inclusive of the both levels of government. So if I
understand it right, your job in this particular instance is policy formulation, and then advocacy and talking to the county
and
governments.
Not just coordination. We're bringing all actors on board. Everybody who is affected in this space, all actors, even the counties, who are they serving? They're working with the MSME. In the day-to-day, work is to ensure that they enhance the livelihood of their citizens, who majority of them, the residents within the county, majority of them also are in MSME. So we are sitting down with them. How do we create a conducive environment? How do we decriminalize MSMEs? How do we kind of accord them some formal, recognition? How do we appreciate what they're doing? And we've had those conversations, and we are aligning them to that commitment. What
are the counties telling you? What is it that the counties need to do? If we talk about hawkers, for example, hawkers need a place where they can go and trade, where they can store their wares, where they can get out their wares, where people can then come in knowing that this is a place that's designated for this side of business. Now that is a county function.
Yeah, but who says
the creation of markets,
we are
allocation of space, licensing these hawkers, that's a county function.
Eric, the interest of the people of Kenya lies in both two levels of government. Unless if you want to tell me that the county governments are serving a totally different citizenry from what the national government is doing. All we are saying, we are combining our efforts where we think that we have regulatory frameworks, for example, even the issue of harmonizing of licensing, the licensing regimes, because it's a function of the trading licenses, it's a function of the counties. But then MSMEs are telling us, look, if I'm moving goods from one county to another, I'm subjected to multiple licensing. So then all of us are committed to creating an enabling environment. So we look into such kind of policy. How do we harmonize that? How do we make sure that the businesses that MSMEs are doing, gives them something, because they can only grow if they are registering good, markup, if they're registering, recording profits. But if they're not recording profits, there is nothing. They're not growing. And it's in the best interest of both levels of governments to achieve that. So we are telling them that MSMEs have complained of these hurdles. So even them, they need to ease them up, and they are easing them up, because it's in their best interest to serve Wananchi. So the other commitment...
Not only that, it's also in the best interest of the counties, because they need all sorts of revenue. And this is one directory of getting all sorts of
So we are coordinating, and we are working with them, we are aligned.
This has been a conversation for many months and many years, Madam PS.
Now we are making it happen.
The issue of counties just agreeing on how goods move from one county to another, how a van that is carrying goods from one county to another does not have to pay for advertising fee in every county that it crosses, has been a conversation since 2013.
I know,
since the beginning of devolution.
Well,
governors don't seem to agree. Now, are you taking that burden of actually making sure that the governors agree?
We are taking the burden to align the county government, because there are no two ways about it. We have to create a conducive environment. And if those hurdles are in their bylaws, then we have to look at them. We have to disrupt them to create a new environment for MSMEs where they can thrive. Because if MSMEs are going to thrive, then they're going to generate revenue that will equally go back to the counties to develop. So we are having this conversation. And like I told you, the unique thing in this current regime is that now we have a home. We have a state department for MSMEs where we can do all those coordination mainstream and align all actors, including the county government, in terms of the kind of environment that we need to create for MSME. The other commitment that you're doing is with regard to other regulatory frameworks, even at national level. For example, the issues at the national level, the issues of like certain compliances, certain taxations, and even I know that's what you're waiting for. And we are saying, and even ways through which you want to collect those tax. How do you approach the issue of taxation? How do you approach the issue of formalization to MSMEs? We need to be innovative in our approaches so that we meet MSMEs at their convenience. Because remember, MSMEs, they operate in a very dynamic, it's kind of a day's environment. They're like mobile, they're like nomadic. Today they see an opportunity here, they'll do it. They see, so you need to understand them, appreciate their level of needs, appreciate the environment, be with them, feel them, so that when you come up with policies, when you come up, like let's say taxation and other regulatory framework, contextualize them to meet their needs at their convenience, and they will on board, they will participate.
So what needs to happen in the regulatory framework? Just like you've said, these are barriers, right? So somebody comes up with an idea and they think, I can do this, I can offer this service, or I can manufacture this kind of goods, I can take these goods to the market. But then barriers come in. First, on how to register. Second, on how to start complying with the various compliance agencies. How do you support them into this? Is there a plan in place?
Yeah, there is a...
Is there a proposal, for example, to amend some certain laws, to amend some regulations, so that it makes it easier for SMEs to start?
Yes. First of all, let us appreciate what we have in our economy. If there is something that we've really done well, is the technology, the penetration of technology. We may have challenges in a number of things, certain physical infrastructure, but when it comes to mobile technology, penetration is everywhere. Actually, is right now an equalizer between the haves and the have not. So then how do we innovatively make use of that infrastructure to serve MSME and grow them, make them more competitive, productive, and more profitable. So right now, the government has committed to digitalizing most of its services through eCitizen. So when you go to that portal, you can register your business, you can do so much thing just with a click of a button. So that's one way of easing the way of doing business in this country that you're doing. And I'm aware that Friday, we will be launching the 5,000 digital services, government services on eCitizen. So it's like a one-shop stop. Everything that you need, you can be able to find it there. That's one. So we are using technology to reach out, to catch up with MSMEs, because everybody has, at least majority of Kenyans have a phone, we must say so. And the other thing that you're doing is actually just aligning all actors that, look, if our goal and if our priority is to support these people in this manner, you don't need to put other barriers. Like we are saying in terms of, like for example, you saw in this country, we even enacted a law to the effect, a policy to the effect of providing preferences in procurement to support women, to support youth, and the persons with disability in businesses. But the challenge that has been there has been with regard to prompt payment. Because most of these people, again, it's credit. Yeah. You borrow, and you supply your wares, you supply your goods, and those institutions will take years probably. Some were running up to even 5 years to pay you. You're sinking further to poverty, you're sinking to debts. So how are we doing that? We are now interrogating those policies and see, can we come up with a prompt payment bill so that if MSMEs are supplying to you, you also make sure that you pay them. And if you cannot pay them in time, can you pay interest? So that's how we are improving on the policy framework with regard to easing the way of doing business and also promoting the growth and productivity of MSME. What you're also doing is investing in commercial infrastructure. And this is a commitment that the Kenya Kwanza government has made, the current administration has made. How are we doing that? Initially, I remember when Youth Fund, and I was a director of the Youth Fund, when Youth Fund was established, our thinking then of commercial infrastructure was the physical stalls, you know, and we will walk around, sit down with the then municipal council, county governments, and tell them, look, we need to give us land where we can set up physical stalls for the young people. But you know, nowadays, young people, because of the advancement in technology, this is their store. This is their virtual market. So now how do we make sure that we provide this? So then we come up with innovative financial products that can give them access to the virtual platform, to the virtual, you know, like digital products like a phone, which can enable them to trade with not only Kenyans, but with the rest of the world. So we are investing in that. The other thing that you're doing, you are right when you say even those hawkers, they need some warehouses where they can place things. In each and every constituency, through my state department, MSEA, I have an agency called MSEA, Micro Small Enterprise Authority, which is investing in constituency industrial development centers across the country, in every constituency. And this one provides, some are providing the cold storage. For example, if you're dealing with agricultural value chain, you know, to stabilize even the market prices, you need somewhere when you're experiencing bumper harvest that you can store your goods as destabilized and also do value addition. Then we're also having Kenya Industrial Estates, which has got also, which is investing in cottage industries, again, across the country. We have of course, I've talked, and then we have access to financing. Access to financing, we had Youth Enterprise Fund, which has been giving out loans to the young people as a way of promoting youth entrepreneurship. We've had Uwezo Fund, which is helping to promote and nurture a culture of entrepreneurship in this country. And the beauty thing with Uwezo Fund is that it's equitably shared across each and every constituency in 290, and the patrons there we have political patrons. Of course, at national level, we have the president as the national patron. Then we have the members of parliament and the women reps, the county member of parliament, also being patron at the grassroots level. What this does is that we are able now to concretize the economic development agenda of each and every constituency and give financing to the population there who have never done business, or they do not even appreciate that they reside where we have opportunities to start learning even how to do business. Then from that level, we can be able now to graduate them to a level where if they're youth, they can borrow from the Youth Enterprise Fund, or they can scale up and borrow from the Hustler Fund, or they can borrow if they are interested now in manufacturing, have to build their capacity, they can borrow from KI up to the tune of even 20 million and set up their own cottage industry.
Yeah.
And we move on like that.
You know the challenge though, Madam PS, it's fragmentation. You just talked about, let's just start with the funds.
Yes.
The Youth Fund, the Women Fund, the Weather Fund, the Hustler Fund. Are all these funds under your state department?
Yes.
All of them?
Yeah.
Are they under your state department?
Yes, they are.
Are they all being coordinated from one central place?
Yes.
Because then, if they are all being coordinated under the same central place, if I go to a constituency today, can I walk into one office where I state my needs and I'm able to be told, no, actually you need to start from the UWEZO level before you come to the KIE level?
That's where we are moving to. That's where we are moving to. Like today, when we are having this event, we are all together. Why
don't we collapse all these funds into one?
No, we cannot collapse those funds to one.
Why not?
Because they serve different purpose. If you understand and if you can define our MSME, you'll appreciate that our MSME have got different needs, be it financial needs, entrepreneurial needs, market needs, and they are different. So they require different levels of intervention. And like I've said, if you look at UWEZO Fund, is that if we were in a school, I'll call it is the kindergarten. You want to do business. You want to appreciate the opportunities that surrounds you in your locality. You want to appreciate the value chains. For example, like now with the Maasai community, maybe some of them didn't know that this is just beyond being beautiful. This one can fetch them billions of shillings. So then it helps now to rally the population around economic opportunities and great potential within that area. So so
it's targeted based on need and category of the MSME.
There.
That I fully understand.
That one. So from there,
the issue that I have,
so let me tell you,
is at the management level.
No, and the problem is not even management.
Why must we have 4 different funds with 4 different boards with 4 different executives going to the same people?
Let me tell you, because if they were under one fund, you can imagine, I would still need that level of management to manage it, because like I say, let's look at the purpose. They are serving different needs, different categories of need. But again, because we understand, for example, I just told you, those who are being served by UWEZO Fund, they can graduate at a level where now Youth Fund can serve them. And this is good, so that we now put also focus on those needs at those different levels. So I'll be the last person even to advocate for that. And even when that idea came up a few years ago of putting all these catalytic, some people call it catalytic fund, into biashara, I said no. I was one of those people as an entrepreneurship expert, development expert, who said no, we can do that because we lose the focus. These people have to be, we need to focus on them at each and every level, and then see how do we scale them up, how do we graduate, because opportunities are also different for them. Their needs are different, at the same time opportunities are different. So this way, if we appreciate the architecture of our economy, you will never agitate
for the collapsing
for
of this.
collapsing. So to
How
me,
about
so
these
far
two institutions then? So you've got the MSMEs authority,
Yes.
You've got the Kenya Industrial Estates.
Yes.
KIE, since 1967, has been in operation to support development of SMEs in the country. Okay? Now, those are the ones who are doing, for example, the light industries.
Yeah, yes.
Right? Across the country.
Absolutely.
Looking at setting up light industries, supporting people to come and set up in the light industries and supporting their growth so then they can develop and mature.
Yes.
What is the MSMEs authority mandate?
The MSEA's work is to help is a regulatory, first of all, which regularizes MSMEs and also, promotes their formalization. Like MSEA has a registrar for MSMEs, for association, for groups and all those, especially those associations that are business focused, for Juakalis. And beyond just that, like I said, it promotes industrialization at the grassroots level and especially the skills acquisition. And one of the things which it does, they do business development support. For example, branding, building your capacity, even to look at your product, how you can brand and market your products at that level. It does what we call cluster production, mapping out the clusters, various clusters together and helping to aggregate them. Like I said, this is the first time we're having a state department. So if you look at the SME policy, then before we even brought in the first micro, the SME policy, the institution that was really looking at the MSME policy was then MSEA. And I think it was the thinking was that when you put it in an institution, it doesn't get that platform where it can align all the actors, including even the development partners. Because like you rightly put it, this is not the first time we are seeing a focus on MSME and in terms of financing. But it is the first time that the government is coming in to coordinate. In fact, like where we sit as a State Department, we can rightfully say that we are that arm of government that is doing private sector development, because MSMEs are development. So all along is to say, how do we create an enabling environment for private sector? And we can only achieve that, grow and expand the private sector by also investing our attention, our focus, our resources to MSME. But now how are we going to coordinate? And your worry is that maybe the management issues and stuff. Through the Hustler Fund, for example, we launched the Hustler Fund, and we've seen great strides in just 7 months after the launch. Today, as we speak, and if you allow me, so that I can consult my figures, as at 9 p.m., is that the first product, which was the personal loan, we have been able to disburse 31.9 billion. 31.9 billion. 0.9 billion. Repayment so far, and people are worried when we started this, were saying, are they really going to repay? Is 21.4 billion. That's close to 66% on there. In terms of customer, we've reached out to 20.5 million Kenyans across this country. I can give you the latest update in terms of the county distribution and tell you how much we've issued to this and every county, and there is no corner of this country that has not been served.
What's the highest amount that has been lent out to any of these 20.5 million borrowers?
Right now, they can borrow up to, I think they're borrowing up to, for the personal loan, we've grown the limit up to, we are now almost 40,000.
So an individual borrower can take up to 40.
Yeah, can take up to, depending on also how you borrow and repay. And one of the things that this fund is doing is that we are introducing in this country a culture of credit score, a culture of holding on to and investing into your credit score. Because in other economies that are doing well, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You cannot acquire property with cash. They will first of all consult your credit score. How are you doing? So you're building that trust system in the financial market to enable our people who don't have collaterals, who don't have any sort of security, to be able to walk outside there, go to any financial institution and be given credit to do business. So that's what you're doing. So, and reason why the Hustler Fund had to come, it was correcting a market failure. And there were a number of market failures that were happening in our economy, especially in as far as the credit market is concerned. The first one was the fact that majority of Kenyan population was not being served because they were being regarded as high risk. They didn't have security, they didn't have what. So we sat down with these financial institutions and we say, look, you will also love it to do business where you're having a majority of Kenyans doing business with you. But how can we now introduce a credit score, a baseline credit score that we can keep on strengthening, building on it, that you can also trust? So today, as we speak, we have more than 7 million MSMEs that borrow on daily basis, borrow and repay. These ones are ready now to go to the market. So you can imagine in the next few months or so, we'll be bringing back to the market close to 7 million Kenya. To the joy of the private sector, the financial institution, because this is going to widen out the customer base. The other failure that Hustler Fund is correcting is that because of the pandemic, corona pandemic and its effects, and then the disruption in the global supply chain, because of the geopolitics, Russia, Ukraine war and stuff, and also the droughts, the unprecedented droughts that we have experienced the last couple of years, many Kenyans, especially MSMEs, were at risk. Most of them went under and they ended up being, listed in CRBs. So when His Excellency President William Ruto was being sworn in, close to 7 million Kenyans were in CRB. These are Kenyans, these are productive Kenyans, but now who have been discredited. They cannot participate effectively in the economy. How do we cure that? How can you preside over an economy where a majority of Kenyans who are productive are outside there? So how do we bring them in again? We had to sit down, and we want to thank His Excellency the President, because within the first week after being sworn in, he had a meeting with this financial institution that had occasioned the listing CRBs, and they agrees we have to delist these Kenyans. We have to remove them from CRBs. Let's give them a second chance. Now, were they going to go back to be lent again? No. So the government had to come in and take that risk of rehabilitating them. Today, as we speak, we have those 7 million Kenyans who have now demonstrated that they are credit worthy. We have repaired them and they are able to go to the next level.
How many of them have now been able to sort out the debts that have seen them being blacklisted?
Well, I think because you see, we are working with this financial institution by there, because one beautiful thing with the Hustler Fund is that we've not come up with our own infrastructure. Today, as we speak, we are using the telecoms infrastructure because they had that experience, they have the technology. So we told them, look, hey, let's sit together. We want to use your experience. Let's sit down. You will still reach out to those Kenyans, but this is the purpose that we have. We are going to put in money as a government so that we can be able to lend through your infrastructure to those Kenyans to help rehabilitate them, to help repair their credit score, so that in the next couple of months they can go back to the economy and participate effectively. So I can tell you the other day we were having a conversation in KCB and they were telling me, hey, look, we are even willing now to start lending those 7 million people if you give us a go-ahead. That's what they were telling us. Meaning that these people, majority of them actually, they are now able to repay their loan, or even now, since now they were cleared from CRB, they are now growing some positive score that are credible, which now even the private sector can depend on and can rely on. The other market failure that we are correcting is when it comes to saving. You realize these people were not banked. This population that is unserved is not just underserved and served. and unbanked, but they also do not have options for saving. They don't have savings products that appeals to them in terms of flexibility, in terms of customized savings. And last December, and I like telling this story just so that people and the Kenyans can appreciate the magnitude of our MSMEs and the kind of barriers that they were experiencing. I interacted with a certain group. That is just go merry-go-round, the chama kind of, and every December most of these groups actually usually do what we call AGMs, and you meet there and they can invite guests, you changia them here and there. And this group was really doing well. So when I interacted with the official, I asked them, so how much money do you have? Have you saved? And they say, we now have 5 million. And ask them, and where is this money? And they say it's in the bank. Because them, these institutions are not even giving them the proper financial literacy. And say, which account? And they say, current account. And I say, oh my God.
So they were saving in a current account.
A current account. So you can see, we did not just have predatory lenders.
Yeah.
We also had predatory savings. We also have Shylocks in saving, taking advantage of that population because it's in the dark, is not being served. And as a government, again, we exist to protect our population from being exploited. So Hustler Fund has now savings, and today as we speak, through that borrowing on the mandatory savings where they're borrowing little, the 500 and they save 1,000 now, like I've told you, up to 30,000 and stuff, and you save. We've been able to mobilize 1.6 billion, which is being saved from out of that 70% goes to their pension, because these, they're not employed formally, so they not build up their pension, so we're able to build their pension. And also now we introduce voluntary saving. Interestingly, this is the first time I've even come into the media talk about it. We introduced that quietly, just where.
So what is voluntary saving?
Voluntary savings, you want an opportunity to save. You do not
necessarily borrow.
Because if you are not banked, you want maybe without necessarily. The Kenyans who just want to save without necessarily borrowing. They just need a platform, because MSME can make in a day, can make maybe 50 bob. You feel you have 50 bob extra, you want to drop it somewhere. Instead of saving it under your mattress, you feel like, can I get somewhere I can save this? So Hustler Fund, through the Hustler Fund platform, you can save voluntarily. And today, as we speak, we launched this product in March. We are now moving towards 50 million.
So let's talk about the savings side of it, okay? Because there are many people who have not understood what this is all about. 1.7 billion shillings saved, and this is by people who've borrowed money through the Hustler Fund.
Yes.
Where is this money domiciled?
Who's
holding the money?
The money is being invested in treasury bills. The money is being held by government, as you know, and everything is being done for pension through RBA, because we have institutions that regularizes that. And as you save, you have an option after some time, you can come back and say, only pension you cannot take, because you see even that pension is being matched up, because you're also encouraging a culture of saving. You cannot do business if you're not saving. But this other one, which you save for short-term saving, is being invested in T-bills, in what, and you're going to earn interest. That is open how much you can get when you invest that money in T-bills.
Are you able to track?
Yes,
the
of course.
Of your savings, and in terms of how much interest it's earning?
Yes.
Can you decide at what point you want to withdraw the 30% of your saving? Because the 70% is held up in the
your pension.
This 30%, how easy is it to access it?
The 30%, of course, so we have two levels of saving. We have the pension, like I said, and then we have now the short term, which you can access. And again, if you think you've reached that level where you have populated and you want it back, you can easily get it back. But again, like for myself, I've also been saving. Honestly, if you're saving and you're saving for a purpose, for example, why am I saving from where I sit? I'm saving so that I can be able to invest in safety nets, like now the affordable housing. Like when those houses will be constructed and are going for 3 million, if I start saving little, I can invest there. But if you choose you need your money back, maybe after, let's say 4 months, 6 months, get it on how you want, you can be able to take your money back and invest. But then the pension, you know, all pensions, there's a way through which they're managed and they're governed. So that one you can take after you attain that age. However, we are still also working on certain policies, because you're also having hustlers who are saving when they're already 60 years, when they're already 70 years. You know, with MSME, it doesn't have, it's not definitive in terms of age. So you find those ones at the extreme end who are saving maybe at 70 years, they're doing business. Those ones we are still working out framework on how, at what point do they access. And those are some of the policy engagements that we're having around there.
As we're talking, you know, I'm actually navigating through *254 hash and checking the savings and checking whether the questions
are you able to save?
I'm able to save. I have borrowed, I think, twice.
So you've saved. You saved
it
how
tells
much?
me I have amount of.
What is your limit?
Let me see. My limit has stuck at 500 bob.
How often do you borrow and repay?
I have repaid almost immediately. So that
No. How many times have you borrowed?
Twice.
No, twice.
Stuck at the same.
You need
500
to keep. You need twice.
Somebody else borrowed once, and they started with a limit of 3,000 bob. I wondered what's.
Someone no not really. The joy is the more you borrow, because we believe that level of financing, like the 500, the 1,000 bob, that you're borrowing for a purpose, you know. So you borrow, you repay, you borrow, you repay, and we review our limits. Actually, after 4 months we review our limits. So you need to keep on borrowing, and I'm sure next time we are reviewing our limits to enhance, you will be enhanced. But again, now we have another product called
Before we go to the other product, still on this question.
Yes.
I have some amount that is saved here. So 70% of it goes into a pension.
Yes.
30% is what you're calling a short-term saving. And you say I should be able to access it. Now, when I go to the *254 hash, I'm able to navigate up to a point where it tells me what my balance is. It can give me a mini statement.
They'll tell you what your saving is.
It tells me what my saving balance is.
Yes.
But it cannot tell me how I can get it out.
Yeah, but you see, so you cannot also save today and get it out tomorrow.
No, I have saved since December.
How much have you saved?
I would like to. Is there?
So, like I've said,
how does one
like
access their savings if they'd like to?
If you want your, because this product is 7 months old, if you look at it, and your savings you can access at least after a period of time. You know, because we're also encouraging you to save. And also to start like embracing long-term saving, even in the banks, even in our listen, Eric, even in our
how long is my saving locked before I can access it?
You're saving around from about 4 to 6 months there, but again, you'll have an opportunity to choose which period you want to save.
Okay.
And so
we are working
out that
opportunity.
You will get. We're still building up.
So at this particular point, all savings are locked. The
because we are just 7 months. We just 7 months.
The 1.9 billion shillings is basically locked, and the government can borrow this money.
No, it's being invested, and your interest will be reflected.
Government borrowing through bills and bonds.
Yeah.
So basically, what I have borrowed and been forced to save,
earning. You are not being forced.
It's mandatory savings.
Yeah, no, even if it's mandatory, it doesn't necessarily. It's a culture that we want to build. Eric, let me tell you.
Tell me.
I started off by saying the MSME sector plays a very crucial role. However, we are not even able to exploit its potential. And this is because on how the sector had been left and it will be like that. Everybody will do their own thing. So if you look at economies which are doing well and societies which are doing well, saving is part of their life. What we don't have in this country is a culture of saving. And this is what we are bringing in. And nobody has said saving is bad. And remember, I've just told you, we have that group of MSME, the chamas, these women I talked about, the chamas who do, the one I met like last December, who've been saving money. Exactly. And they save there forever, you know. And if people they need products and options to save. Nobody has said that they don't want to save, by the way.
That's very true.
That's what I'll say. So they're looking for opportunity where they can save, and we want to move towards saving-led borrowing.
That's true.
And because also, like I told you, we are also trying to introduce a culture of credit scoring. And this credit scoring, you'll build your credit in a positive way. You'll enhance your credit score also by saving, not only just by borrowing. So now, if you want to say, so what I'm saying,
see, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
The question is, if that chama that you met, the women that you met, who have their own sort of table banking at chama, and they have saved 5 million shillings, or they thought they're saving, well, they have money in the bank to the tune of 5 million shillings. There's a voluntary saving scheme here with a star 254 hash. If they opted to take some of that money from the bank and put it through the Hustler Fund saving scheme, when can they access it and how can they access it? They save it for a purpose. They may sit in the next AGM and decide, all right, so what we want to do is we'd like to invest in one or two things. So can they access their money?
Yes, they can access. And once you're on board on this product, just the same way we open a savings account and we choose options. Do we want our money to sit there for 3 months? Do we want our money to sit there for 6 months? Do we want our money to sit there for how long? Yeah. Provided it's not pension. Those options, we are working on them. So like I said, we are just 7 months, and most of these products we've been piloting to see which one works, and even as we continue getting the feedback from our customers, these 20.5 million Kenyans, still like now what you're telling us, that you need an opportunity where you can be able to save voluntarily and get your money as and when you need it. So we are going to provide those options. Like we were still piloting this product, settling this product and seeing how it will work and making the necessary adjustments that we have.
So what you would advise people is if you want to save voluntarily into the Hustler
Obviously,
Fund,
if you save,
at least give us some time before we give you the option
No. We are working out.
Because currently, if you bring your money in...
No, not really. You should have asked me, when is this pilot phase?
When does the pilot phase end?
Thank you. Eric, now that we have launched the second product, which is the group product, and what has made us launch the second product, which now has an enhanced kind of limit and is a group in a sense that those hustlers, those MSMEs who come together, now they have another level of security, which is group guarantee. They guarantee each other, you see? So at that level, we are building, and the scores that you would have achieved in the first loan, which was the Hustler Fund, which was targeting the personal loan. That score now, if it's a positive score and you're a good customer, it will give you times 3 of your limits. So for you, if you were good, but from the way you just borrow twice and maybe you did not pay in time, keep on borrowing, because you can't tell me that you're not in need.
Every time I borrow, some of my money is being held back and being put into this fund where I cannot access
So now that you're doing that and you're receiving feedback from the customers, is now we move into now settling these products. We will provide those options. And this, the Hustler Fund is well regulated by the laws, the Constitution, the PFM Act and everything, in terms of its management and governance. So what we'll do, even as we come up with these products, of course the customer will have an opportunity to choose. Do I need to save for 3 months? Good. you choose an option that you think will work for you.
Okay.
Do I need to save for 6 months? Because you see, the longer you save, also the higher returns that you get. So we're giving you an option that can work for you. So, and I can tell you from the next financial year, you are going to have those options.
You know, this administration is very good at giving dates. Next financial year starts in the next
next
4
financial
days.
year, we are working out the system.
I want to ask about, so just looking at the figures that you gave us, and these are from the latest
Why
figures.
did you say that this administration is good at giving dates?
Because you're very good at giving dates. Now you've just
His Excellency
the next
listen, His Excellency,
next financial year begins on Saturday.
Listen, His Excellency the President promised Kenyans last year during campaign that he was going to launch Hustler Fund. In fact, 1st of December. You know what? We even launched Hustler Fund on 30th of November.
Yes, true.
So we don't just give dates. We give workable dates. And we work out. Before we give something, we already have a plan and we know it's doable.
I won't push back on that. How much has been borrowed so far? 31.9 billion shillings. How much has been repaid so far? 21.4 billion shillings. A very impressive repayment rate of about over 60%.
Yes.
Are you worried about this 30% or so?
I'm really not worried.
What happens?
I'm not really worried because,
and they may.
And that's why I wanted
30%.
to talk. I wanted to talk about the second product, and this will be very interesting because again, one of the criteria is that for you now to qualify for the second product, at least it's just and this is the standard everywhere. In the banking.
Global best practice.
Global best practice that you must have repaid an outstanding loan that was due, you know. So impressively, for the group product, now which has an enhanced limit, and where your limit now, if you're borrowing as a group, will be dependent on the members, the average scores of each member. So if you keep on, if you are in my group, I'll be a little bit sad. Because you will stuck us there. You're not grown your score, yeah. So and mine is high. So but anyway, all in all, you leverage on what I have because now my score will enable you get a higher limit that you wouldn't have gotten as an individual. Now as we move there, the kind of repayment that is coming in. From even those ones, if you look at it, who had defaulted. And this one just to show you that people do not default because they want to default. A lot of time, default happen because of it's just situational. You borrowed loan, business is not working on well, and it happens.
Yeah.
So we are encouraging them, and it's been so impressive. Close to 20,000 Kenyans who had borrowed and had not repaid. Those ones are now repaying. And I'm sure if I can go back now, look at the numbers that we are registering today in terms of the repayment on the defaults which was there, clearing of the default, some of those loans that had been default, the part of the 30%, I'm sure is now that percentage has even gone down. And the other bit you want to do with now the group loan is that this is the product where we are going to purpose lending and purpose borrowing. That you borrow because there is an opportunity. This is where now we are involving all the stakeholders. And this product, we want to mold it around value chains where we think we have enterprises across this country. We know because there are groups and you're able to tell where they are. If you're borrowing, let's say, from Kitengela or from Northeastern, we know. If you're borrowing, let's say, in a business within the leather value chains or around there, you will get organized there purposively to borrow, to do a business, because you also have now to start developing a market for this borrower. So right now, we launched this product on 1st of June during Madaraka Day. Today, I can say here that we have created more than 265,000 groups across the country and have distribution. And because it's a process, and it's a very good process, because we have also to make sure that there are necessary controls.
How big is the group?
At least 10 members.
Okay.
You will register 10 members. Before you borrow, you'll get approvals. 3 officials and 2 officials will give the go-ahead you can borrow. Once you have been allocated the limit and you have borrowed money has come to your wallet, the group members will be notified. If Eric, you are the chair, you can now not go there and eat our money. Because when you initiate now the lending or moving money from the wallet, the message will randomly go to members and members will give the consent. Okay. So we're putting those kind of, and the beautiful thing is that group you can create is digitally created, and you'll be able to access your certificate, which MSEA now we have integrated the system with BRS, with MSEA, so you're able to get to download your certificate. And one of, we had talked about policy, one of the area that you're looking at is how to make that, we are having conversation with our counterpart institution to see how to make that certificate tradable, so that you don't need again to register another certificate, because already the system is integrated with PRS. With that certificate, you can be able to go and do tender. You can get a PIN, you tender for goods, procure, Agpo, take advantage of that. So what I'm saying with this second product is we are mobilizing Kenyans and organizing them around opportunities, give them access to that. And there, a group can access even up to 1 million shillings to venture into business. If you need anything beyond that, hey, we'll take you to KI, where you can borrow even up to 20 million. If you are a youth, you can go to Youth Enterprise Fund for LPA, which are beyond 1 million. Do you see how the system is integrated?
So it's growing upwards.
Yep.
You explained it very well, because you're an expert in entrepreneurship. And
no, because I'm a player in this, I'm a duty bearer.
And you're a duty bearer in this. I want to close this interview, but on the Kenyan side, all right? Yes. So we are Kenyans, we're in this country. Right now, 11 billion shillings has not been repaid. And you're saying, well, this, once we popularize the
we
group
have not
borrowing,
said that they have not been repaid.
It's not like it's a bad debt. This is growing, and we are going to encourage people to start repaying. I'm only looking at, we have seen fraudsters in various other sectors. Talk to the telcos, they'll tell you about fraudster. Talk to the insurance companies, talk to NSSF, NHIF, they'll tell you about fraudsters. Fraudsters getting into the Hustler Fund, and all they need is about 6 billion shillings, which is a lot of money, just by borrowing with a clear intention of not repaying. How do you catch them?
Opportunities are massive, and one of way of de-risking is actually of encouraging the culture of savings. Like you're asking me, this was a personal loan. You're also helping to build a security around by savings. So you're telling me, why don't I have an opportunity to even withdraw my savings and stuff? We believe, of course, in any society, you cannot lack such kind of people. But because this is even technology driven, we know everybody. We even know where you are, And you cannot say that you borrow. If you're borrowing and you're unable to repay because of some challenges, which could be situational, the business environment, that's understandable, and you're the people you're looking for to rehabilitate. But if you're a fraudster who you think you can borrow 500 and run away with, why do you want to risk locking yourself out of these massive opportunities that we have? We have this borrowing and just repaying. You're working on your credit score. We will open you up to massive opportunities outside there. So again,
what if it's a calculated scheme by some players? Basically, you're looking at, well, there's a fund here, it's from the government. If we take off with 6 billion shillings.
How do you take off with 6 billion shillings? Let me tell you, for example.
How many
the unique identifier for this product is your ID. And the good thing is that it's integrated on your cell phone number. So even if I keyed in your cell phone number, I'll know. Secondly, we do not interact with this money. Eric, I sign paper. But the money I've never seen, in my life, I've never held a billion, But this money is there. So where will someone come and hold 6 billion from where? Where will you have the network to put together those number of Kenyans that can borrow 500 or borrow 2,000 or 30,000 to give you 6 billion. It's not possible. So this money is digital lending. And you're also working with the telcos and with the financial institutions that have been doing digital lending. And today they are testing to it that this is the most successful product in as far as digital financing is concerned, I think, in the whole world. That's why everybody's getting into it. So it's not possible to lose this money. The only challenge can be people borrowing and they're not repaying. And let me tell you, people who have been
there was a story
that
in the papers the other day
that people borrowed
fraudsters who tried to defraud, and they had actually succeeded for a long time to defraud one of the products that Safaricom has for lending. Okay, they had succeeded. They were caught, yes. But those are not the only ones who are in the system trying to do these things. Let's conclude there. Anyway, you've talked about their system, their checks and balances.
Their system, the checks and balances is digital, very, and I think very little human interaction. At the point when we interact, there is just to sit there and agree on a criteria of scoring only. And once it's integrated in the system, and those are, you know, we are not even there. So it is not possible for, and you'll be a wise person who can bring everybody and pull you out for 6 billion. So it's not possible. And the best thing is that from the experience of what has been happening, we are able to enhance even our system and make sure that not just the money, but even the data of our customers is also protected and is also not abused or misused for any other reason. So what I want to say, this is a revolutionary.
This is the game changer.
Let me tell you, this is the game changer. And anybody can hustle, and I will want to invite you. Please form a group here. You come.
With my 500 bob limit.
Yeah, but now you need to keep on.
By the time you get home, I'll have borrowed again.
Yes.
Madam Pierce, thank you very much for joining us today. And again, happy World MSME Day.
Happy to you as well. This is for MSME, this is for economy, this is for Kenya, and this is all that we have to do if we are to achieve the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that we now have through the leadership of His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto, who has made a decision to organize economic participation where majority of Kenyans can be onboarded so that we leave no one behind. We just need support. So kila mtu afanye kazi yake, tukuje pamoja. Hii Kenya ni yetu sisi wote. Even if you want to be left behind, you will not be left. I'll be there to give you financing so that you're not left behind and participate in the economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Susan Mangeni is the Principal Secretary, the State Department of MSMEs Development. She's been our guest this evening. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching Newsline. My name is Eric Latif. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good night.